Hey there, and welcome. In this technical explainer, we're going to dig into generating activation codes using the PC Guard software protection system. We'll cover everything you need to know to get a handle on securely managing your application's licensing. So here's what we've got on tap. We'll start with the core concepts, then compare the two main types of codes. After that, we'll get into some advanced customization, walk step by step through how to generate a code, and wrap it all up with a quick summary.
Okay, let's kick things off with activation code fundamentals. We're going to start with the absolute basics of what an activation code really is.
So, what's the big idea here? Well, every single code is uniquely tied to two things. First, your software's specific protection settings from your project file, and second, the user's unique hardware signature, that's the site and MID codes, from their machine. This creates a really secure, one-to-one link between the license and that specific computer.
Now, you can actually generate two different types of these codes, and the choice you make here is really going to define how much control you have over the licenses you're sending out.
Which brings us to standard versus extended codes. Figuring out the difference here is absolutely key to setting up the right licensing strategy for your software, whether it's a simple one-time purchase or something more complex like a subscription.
All right, this table lays it all out pretty clearly. You can see that standard codes, they handle the basics, right? Just the activation key and any custom features you've set up. But look over at that extended column. That's where the real power is, giving you a much deeper level of control.
And this is what I mean by power. Extended codes give you this incredible fine-grained control. With just one code, you can manage trial periods by the day or by the number of runs. You can set up limited licenses for subscriptions, control feature usage with custom counters, and even limit how many instances of your app can run at the same time.
Okay, so let's move on to custom features and flags. Because beyond just the license type, you can fine-tune how your application behaves even further. You get 16 of these custom features to play with. The best way to think about them is like a series of on or off switches that get embedded right into the activation code. Your application can then check if a switch is on or off to enable or disable specific things, like, say, a PRO feature set.
But wait, there's more. Beyond those custom features, we also have something called special flags. Now, these are different. They're not for little in-app tweaks. They're for making big, important changes to the license status itself on a user's machine. There are three main ones to know. First, the Disable Limited License flag. That'll permanently activate the software, getting rid of any time or usage limits. Then you've got the Extend Evaluation Period flag, which does exactly what it sounds like. It gives a user more time to try out your software. And finally, the license extension flag is specifically for renewing a license that's already been activated but isn't permanent. Okay, I really want to stop here for a second because this is super important. You have to pay close attention to this warning. When you use that Disable Limited License flag, that action is permanent for that installation. There's no going back. The license is fully, permanently activated.
All right, we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get our hands dirty and walk through the how. The exact steps for creating these codes right inside the PC Guard activation panel.
First things first, you always start by loading the exact same project file you use to protect your app. Can't stress that enough. From there, pop open the activation panel and plug in the user's unique site and MID codes. Then you can toggle any of those 16 custom features we just talked about.
Right at this point, if you were to hit Generate, you'd get a standard code. That's the default. If you want an extended code, you've got to specifically go in and turn on one of the extended options to get that deeper level of control.
And here they are. These are those options we talked about. If you need to mess with trial periods, change how long a license lasts, update those custom counters, or set the max number of instances, this is where you do it. This is how you turn a basic activation into a really sophisticated license.
So to wrap it up, you'll set any of those extended options you need. You can optionally decode the machine ID just to make sure it's valid, and then you click Generate. And then, and this is the part you can't forget, click Save. This logs everything to your activation report.
And that brings me to a best practice you absolutely should not ignore. Think of your activation reports as your master ledger, your definitive record of every single license you've ever issued. Treat them like gold. Keep them secure and back them up just like you do with your project files.
Okay, I know that was a ton of technical info, so let's do a quick recap of the key points you absolutely need to remember from all this.
Just remember these 5 things.
1. Codes are totally unique to your project and the user's machine. 2. Use standard for simple activations and go with extended when you need serious control over trials and subscriptions. 3. Use custom features and special flags to really dial in how your licenses work. 4. Follow that 8-step process to the letter. And 5. Always, always, always back up your activation reports.
So, with all that in mind, the real question for you is how are you going to use these tools? Whether you need simple, permanent keys or a complex, feature-driven subscription model, everything you need is right here to build a really robust system. Thanks for tuning in.